blah, blah. Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things Plays. No, not Stuff and Things Plays. Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally with things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have many stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. We will be talking very briefly about fusion. What? We will also be talking about why tech sucks so much. Rant incoming, gang. And then, of course, we have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. So let's get into it. Oh my lord. Upcoming videos that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. Number one, this coming week, Christmas week, we will be having the Timeless Style Navy Peacoat episode. Yay, it is finally done. We'll be talking a little bit about the making of that Timeless Style video later on today, but suffice to say, that video is done, it is ready, it'll be posting this Wednesday. And then, depending on what happens during Christmas weekend, what I can get done on the channel, depending on how busy I am with family stuff, I will try to do a video the week after Christmas. Regardless of when that posts, if it's the week after Christmas or the week after that, it will be about one of the Esoterica Blends that were sent to me very generously. And then we're gonna get into Endless Stationery. I have my Endless Explorer notebook right here. A really, really nice journal system that I like a lot. So look forward to that full review. And then of course, every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Kevin the Kurt's adventures continue on in Elden Ring, the Elden Ring series on Stuff and Things Plays. The game of the year, according to the Game Awards show, which happened, I think, last week. Okay, just very briefly, because I am not a scientist or a nuclear physicist, but I just wanted to mention something pretty cool that maybe you have seen in the news. The Department of Energy announced that they have successfully, well, how do we put this? Basically, there have been people working on nuclear fusion for a very long time. And again, I mentioned I am not a nuclear physicist. So with fission, you're basically splitting atoms to create energy. And with fusion, maybe I should look this up really quick so I don't sound like a complete idiot. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Nuclear fusion is a reaction in which two or more atomic nuclei are combined to form one or more different atomic nuclei and subatomic particles. The difference in mass between the reactants and products is manifested as either the release or absorption of energy. And it's that release of energy that we're trying to achieve through fusion. And basically it's a process that if we can harness this power, it will be extremely efficient, use fuel that is widely available. It will produce much less waste, and the waste that it does produce will be less radioactive for less time than with fission reactors. And anyway, so it's been something that we've been trying to do for a long time, and by we, I just mean humanity. And the Department of Energy announced that they have succeeded, sort of, where basically they were bombarding something with lasers. I can't remember what actual atomic particle they were using or how the whole thing works, but they were bombarding it with lasers, and they were able to successfully create a fusion reaction in which the amount of energy that the lasers was putting into it, they got more than that out of it. I think it was like, I can't remember what the exact measurements were, but something like 2.5 megajoules or something like that. I think they still had to use more energy to produce those lasers than they got out of the reaction, but it was the first time that fusion had ever happened where the actual amount of energy put into it was, you had an increase in the energy that came out of it, and that's the whole point. You don't want to have to produce, you don't want to use more energy than you're producing. That sort of defeats the purpose. So we're still probably, I don't know, decades away from being able to commercially harness this, but that's a big deal. It's a pretty big deal, and I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this story, and you should as well, because everyone keeps talking about green energy, and pretty much all of the alternatives that we have to fossil fuels don't really work all that well. Solar doesn't work all that well, especially where I am. Wind is a blight on the landscape. It kills birds. It's unreliable. I don't know. We haven't found a good alternative energy to fossil fuels yet. I think nuclear fission is actually much better than pretty much any other fossil fuel, but people still have a real paranoia about that. So if we can get fusion up and running, I think that would probably be a good thing. And then we'll have to think of something else to complain about and catastrophize about in our society. So, just thought that was cool. I'm here looking at my phone, a piece of technology that I have with me pretty much all the time. I have my case with my AirPods sitting on the table here. I'm wearing, well, this isn't a smartwatch. It's a nice, cute Casio watch. So it's digital, but I still think of it as kind of analog-y because it's not a smartwatch. It's kind of quaint and, in my opinion, not as existentially creepy as some of the technology that we have with us all the time. I'm mentioning all this because I love technology. I always have. As a child, I dreamed of the things that would be invented in the future. As a child, I assumed that we would be living on, extraplanetary colonies by the time I was in my 30s or 40s, and that obviously hasn't happened. But I've always been super into technology. I've always been kind of on the edge, the cutting edge. When new things come out, I'm always, not always like the first adopter, but usually kind of an early adopter. I am of the generation that is equally straddling the analog age and the digital age. I was at just the right age to grow up without the internet and then fully grasp it when it came along. So I wasn't too old to be freaked out by it, and I wasn't so young that I grew up with it, my entire childhood. So it was basically when I was in high school that internet use started becoming widespread. So I have this kind of complicated relationship with technology in that I really appreciate it and I love what it can do and I am fascinated by it, but I am also a bit suspicious of it, and also I can become quite incensed by the somewhat capricious nature of technology. Now here's what's going on. I've complained before about technical difficulties that have happened when I've tried to make videos. As I was trying to make the Timeless Style video, the Navy Peacoat video, many things went wrong. And it occurred to me that as much as I appreciate technology and enjoy unleashing technology or harnessing technology and using it for my benefit and for the benefit of others, I still don't completely trust it. And the reason why is because for no apparent reason, sometimes it will just decide to go completely haywire. Last weekend, I had a video. It was the Sunday video, and then I think the Maltese Falcon review video you guys may have seen, in which my lapel mic, which hopefully is working right now, it looks like it might be, just decided to stop working. No reason whatsoever. There's no battery in the lapel mic. There's a battery in the transmitter that I have hooked to my belt right now. It was plugged in. There was no reason for the lapel mic to stop working. It just did. And I didn't realize it because I could still see my peak meter on my camera as I was speaking. But then when I went to edit, I realized that my audio was being picked up by the transmitter on my waist and not by my lapel mic, and so it sounded horrible. And I couldn't re-record it. I didn't have time. It wasn't an option, so I had to try to do whatever I could to make it sound a little better. Of course, using technology to do that, using my computer, using Pro Tools, and the tools that they have there. No explanation for that, none whatsoever. So, technology good. Wireless lapel mic, really good. Makes things a lot easier, makes things better. But out of nowhere, it just decides not to work. No explanation as to why it's working now. It has continued to work since that happened. I don't know why it stopped. And that's why I can't trust the technology. You never know when it's going to turn on you. It's like a dog that you don't know. I love dogs. Dogs are great. Love to run around with them. But every once in a while, you'll find a dog that for no apparent reason will suddenly just eat your face. And you don't know why it did it. As I was recording the Timeless Style video for the Navy Peacoat, again, audio snafu. recording the video, going through all the process. There are all sorts of, always lots and lots of shots in those videos and lots of edits. I had recorded the whole like talking head, speaking to the camera portion of the video, and I had imported it into Pro Tools, and I slapped the video clip onto my timeline, and I saw audio, 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 and then suddenly, flat line at about a third of the way through the video. It's like, what? And so I started watching and looked like, yep, audio, 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 and then cuts out. It's gone. This time it was the entire audio transmitter. It wasn't just the lapel mic, so I had no audio whatsoever for 2/3 of the video. And I was in the middle of editing. I'm on a deadline. I'm always on a deadline because I don't have a lot of time to do these things. And I suddenly realized, okay, I'm gonna have to re-record this entire section. It's gonna take me like at least another hour, hour and a half, because I had to set everything up. I had to go back to where I was recording, set everything up, set up all the lights, do all that stuff. No explanation. No explanation whatsoever for why it dropped out. Then, while editing the video, which again is a really laborious, very long process, it's also very taxing on my computer, but everything was going well. I was watching my system resources. I always have a task manager up, watching my system resources, making sure that I'm not taxing the computer too much. Everything's going fine. I've restarted my computer. I had nothing going at all except for Pro Tools. Perfectly fine, editing for hours, got to the very end of the video, and I was about to export it, but I wanted to save it first. So I hit save. Ugh, the evil screen of death comes up. Pro Tools is not responding. Would you like to close the program now or wait for it to respond? I said, okay, let's try to wait for a while. Waited for a while, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening. Finally, I have to just restart Pro Tools. But I thought, you know what? I have set Pro Tools so that every 5 minutes, it will save the current project on which I am working. So at the most, I've only lost about 4 or 5 minutes worth of work. So when I loaded Pro Tools up again and I went to click on the project, it said last saved over an hour ago. Why? I don't know. There's no reason. I went and looked at the settings. It still says save every 5 minutes. So why didn't it save every 5 minutes? There's no explanation. It's technology. It has some sort of evil intelligence, this capricious nature that wants to F me in the A every once in a while. I make use of technology all the time. I'm pretty well versed in how to use the things that I do use. But for some reason, for no explanation whatsoever, it will decide to reach back and bite me in the face. So I had to re-edit that entire thing. Took me several more hours than it should have. But it is done, and it will be ready this Wednesday. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, tweet at SAT Bradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. You can also write to me via Patreon and go to the front of the line. You can send me super thanks and go to the front of the line, or you can leave me comments, questions, and feedback on my YouTube videos. So this week, via YouTube and Ashes of the Phoenix, Ashes says, "Hey Bradley, Raiders of the Lost Ark being your favorite movie." I don't know if it's my favorite movie. It's probably my favorite action-y movie, I think, maybe. Are you excited for the new Indiana Jones movie? Also, a class action lawsuit has been filed against Amazon for the shipping thing you've been talking about. Thanks, Ashes of the Phoenix. I am not excited for the new Raiders of the Lost Ark movie, or for the new Indiana Jones movie. I never watched the fourth one. I refuse to ever watch the fourth one because I'm sure it's horrible. Looked horrible. Had CG monkeys jumping around. This one has, how old is Harrison Ford now? He's in his 80s? Or is he 90? I mean, he's really freaking old. If you want to make new Indiana Jones films, recast Indiana Jones instead of taking Harrison Ford's face and trying to plaster it over somebody else. Just recast it. It's okay. I'm really sick of people milking these IPs for all they're worth, like putting a CG Leia in the Star Wars films. Just recast her. Recast her. It's okay. We know it's a movie. We don't think these people are actually the characters. I don't think Harrison Ford is actually Indiana Jones. Just recast it. And the class action lawsuit. I did look into that, and I did see that people are pursuing that. I will probably not be joining the class in that class action lawsuit, but interesting. I'll keep an eye on that. Next, from DKS, oh Lord, DKZelethus. DKS Zelethus. I'm going to go with that. I recall a funny video of yours where you display 50 empty Elizabethan Mixture tins, but I can't find it to save my life. Does anybody recall which one it was? Search favorite pipe tobacco ? On my videos, and you will find that video. Okay, next we have some feedback from last week's SSAT. This is from, I just don't know why I can't say this name. I think it's like Navy Vet 72, but there's something else going on with the I's and the E's and the T's in there. They say, my coat is a kersey wool peacock. I think you meant peacoat. We're gonna go with that. And it's really heavy. I love the collar and the buttons that came with my enlisted coat. It's just a classic style that will never fade. Those people who have never had the opportunity to wear one would be envious. Great video, thank you. Cool, so yeah, you must have an older one. I think they stopped using kersey wool in like around late 70s, early 80s, and they went to a Melton wool, which just isn't as nice in my opinion. That kersey wool is great. Next, from Joel Gandia. Bro, that demon ant looked like something out of Dark Souls. Yes, Joel, and I mentioned that myself in the video, but thanks for reinforcing that point. Next, the Maltese Falcon review feedback. This is from Ian Jones. Ian Jones says, it's ginger. And I think I had asked in the video, I said, oh, I'm noticing some sort of spice, something, maybe a little extra added something, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but a lot of people were saying that it was ginger, and I think some people were saying that there was proof that it was ginger, either quotes from GLPs or what have you. So, very cool. Next, Brian in Canada says, easily in my top 10 all-time teas. And a lot of people seem to agree. Many people are quite pleased with GLP's Maltese Falcon. Stephen Smith says, agreed, this has easily become the go-to basic English. My Mixture 965 is usually in that role for me, but MF, and he does not mean mother, he means Maltese Falcon, is right there with Margate or Artisan's Blend or Gaslight. No, wait a minute. Missing some punctuation here. Is right there when Margate or Artisan's Blend, okay, never mind. Not missing some punctuation, I just read it wrong. Is right there when Margate or Artisan's Blend or Gaslight are just too much. Okay, from Joshua Smith. Given the history of this blend, you'd think they'd reach for something with Phoenix in the name. It's a good point, because it was a recreation of Raven's Wing, I believe was the original blend, so it's sort of a rebirth of the Raven's Wing. This review makes me really curious about the difference in the Essing woods and spices between Cyprian and Syrian Latakia. That might be the clue to figuring out the spiciness you're tasting, because maybe Greg was trying to fill in a gap he perceived. The blend sounds great, and thanks for the review. Thank you, Joshua. I wanted to mentioning Latakia, occasionally I'll get comments from people saying, it's pronounced Latakia. Latakia. I know the way it's pronounced when you're talking about the Syrian city, but no one says that when they're talking about pipe teas. Nobody does. And so if I go around saying, oh, the differences between Cyprian and Syrian Latakia, everyone's gonna think that I'm a creep and a prick. So I don't say Latakia. I know that it is Latakia, but I say Latakia because that is the way everyone within the pipe community says it. It's the convention. Next, from Drew Walton. Did you do the old-timey style because you forgot to turn your lapel mic on again? Be honest, Bradley. No, Drew. First of all, I did not forget to turn my lapel mic on. The lapel mic just stopped working for no reason. You don't have to turn it on. You just plug it into the thing and the thing transmits it, what have you. But no, I was planning on doing the old-timey style for the Maltese Falcon video from the very beginning. And then once I started editing, it was the same day that I recorded the Sunday Stuff and Things video where the lapel mic was also not working. And so once I edited it, I realized, okay, that's annoying. But I was already committed to the black and white thing and wearing the whole ensemble. So thanks for all the feedback, gang. Feeling a little ornery today, but hopefully you don't mind. But now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Every week, we like to thank those who choose to support the channels on Patreon at $25 or more a month and give them a special shout out because they help make this show go. They help pay for the fancy camera that's filming this video, the lights that are shining upon me, blends for review. It just really, really makes everything work a lot more smoothly with these two channels. If you would like to support the channels on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below. You can also hit that super thanks button if you wish to donate directly. But today we would like to thank Kirk Crompton, Glenn, Jason Buckner, Gloria Phillips, MDoftheNorth, David Gaudreau, Nick Papageorgio, John Tice, and Finn O'Hagan. And of course the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month. People like Bob Magee and Ashes of the Phoenix. And we will never forget our Hall of Fame member, our dearly departed friend, Peter Straub. Gang, thank you so much for watching. Please, I hope that you have a good week before Christmas and that you're making some nice, fun holiday plans. Maybe you're already starting to do some of those holiday activities that you're looking forward to. Stay tuned for the Timeless Style Navy Peacoat video. Worked a lot on it, had some setbacks, but we got it done. It's gonna be posting this Wednesday. And then of course, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, the Stuff and Things Plays series on Elden Ring. Look forward to some Esoterica Blends. I can't remember, or I can't decide which one I'm gonna do next. That'll be coming up, Endless Stationery coming up, all sorts of good stuff. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been a good friend, Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday, Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.